Tonight, Zeb and I are going to be working on a craft night for my girlfriends. It's a great idea to get together with some friends, some good food, and get ready for your next upcoming season. We're going to be working on some fall signage that we did a DIY for a while back. I'll have Zeb throw up that link. I'm just going to show you what kind of prep is involved and a few things you can do to make it run a little bit smoother. First things first, we're gonna get our first in, first out bottles filled. So that way they can just squirt what they need on a paper plate, and then it makes it a little bit easier than trying to pour out paint from a can. It can get a little bit messy. So I'm using DIY White Swan. This will be used for dry brushing or stenciling if they want. Most of their stenciling, I think they'll probably wind up using the Gunmetal and the Best Black. Next, I'm using Gunmetal by Fairy Chalk Mother, one of my favorite colors to stencil with. I like the Fairy Chalk Mother for the darker colors because it doesn't powder quite as much as the DIY, so it doesn't make a mess when you distress it. And then next is Best Black, also by Fairy Chalk Mother. It's a true dark black. I've got a little 8 ounce of Summer Crush in case anybody wants to stencil in orange. I don't normally use this when I stencil, but I know they might want to, and I love it because it's not like a bright in-your-face orange. It's a little bit more muted and looks great with farmhouse signs. We're using Real Stain because it's all natural, it doesn't stink, we don't have to wear gloves, it's water-based, which means cleanup is really easy, and it's gonna dry in 15 minutes, so we'll be ready to stencil. We don't have all night to get our projects done, so dry time is important. I always like to have snacks whenever I'm doing any kind of craft class, whether it's with my friends or whether it's a paid class. You never want people with low blood sugar. I can't tell you how many times I've had people come and they don't eat dinner before they come and they start to get grumpy. Grumpy and crafting doesn't work. So always have some sort of snack. We've got black licorice on the side. It's my friend Kelly's favorite, but it makes everything else smell like black licorice, so we kind of keep it apart. Next up, I made a trip to the dollar store. I got 2 long tablecloths, one for my island, one for my farm table. If they rip and paint happens to get on anything, everything we're using is water-based, so I can wash it off, no problem. Napkins, because my girlfriends are bringing snacks tonight too, and a pack of plates. There's 18 in here, so there's enough for us to snack on, as well as 1 plate per person so they can squeeze out their paint on it. Probably want to have water bottles nearby. I'm just having my girlfriends over, and all of them, except for maybe 1, drink soda, so they'll be bringing their own soda, so I'm not worried about it. But if you're teaching a class, definitely have water on hand.
Do we need to tape it down like we're at the park so it doesn't blow away?
No. Although maybe we should tape the ends.
No, I'm kidding.
Even though our stain is non-toxic and washes off, in case your friends or your customers don't want to get their hands dirty, make sure you have some gloves handy. We purchase these at Harbor Freight. They're really inexpensive, or you can order them on Amazon. We are going to be using foam brushes to stencil with. I'm using my Paint Pixie because it's my favorite, but I only have 1 of these. These are great when you're doing a class because they work good for stenciling, and then you can just pitch them when you're done, or you can rewash them and reuse them a time or 2 if you'd like. I picked these up, I think, at Walmart, but Amazon's a good place. And then for putting on the stain, I like chip brushes or foam brushes. I'm gonna let them pick. These are also good for dry brushing especially, so we'll probably wind up using these for stain and stenciling, and this in case they want to do any dry brushing. Wet wipes are always good to have on hand, so that way if they need to wipe something off their hand quickly, it's easy and accessible. And then we cut up little pieces of sandpaper. 1 piece will usually give you like 6 or 8 pieces, so you don't really have to spend a lot. You never know when somebody's going to want to distress, or if they don't think their board is smooth enough, they're welcome to sand it some more. If you are doing a class where everybody is just doing 1 item, then I would go ahead and put 1 of these at each place setting with the brushes that they're gonna need, as well as maybe a cup of water. In my case, all my friends are doing different numbers of things. So all of my friends are doing different numbers of things, like 1 of these, 2 of these, or just 2 of these, none of these. So instead of setting 1 at each place setting, I'm gonna go ahead and just leave them stacked up so when they come in, they can grab what they ordered and then get started staining. You really wanna get them started as soon as they come, even if they're coming at different times, so that way that stain can dry, especially if they're doing more than 1 craft. We don't need the paint until we're done staining, so rather than stick it out on the table and have it be in the way, I'm keeping all the paint supplies here Once everybody's done staining and it's dry, then they can come put their paint on their plate, take it over to their station, and then they can just do their craft over there. You do want to make sure before you get started, I know this sounds like everybody should know, but make sure you check your stencils and your products and you have everything that you've advertised that you're going to have there. You never know when you misplaced one. So double check and make sure you're ready. So my friends decided that we didn't want to have an on-camera craft night just so that way we could relax, we wouldn't have to worry about our hair or our makeup. So all of these photos as you're watching are my friends' hands while we're going through the night. The first thing we did as soon as my friends got there is we stained our boards with Real Stain number 2. It only takes about 15 minutes to dry, so it's a quick process, but they were doing multiple signs, so we wanted to get it done. I didn't wait for everybody to show up to get started because that way we would be able to get through more stuff throughout the night. After that was dry, the next step was taping on the stencils. They each had a varying amount of stencils that they wanted to do, and they all definitely wanted to be using my Paint Pixie stencil brush. The ones that weren't just used chip brushes and foam brushes. They worked out great. And one of the things I kept hearing over and over again is how easy this craft was. How simple it was to do the staining, only wait 15 minutes, and then use the Essential Stencils to get really great design without a lot of effort or super great stenciling ability. Once we got that done and that dried, then we used 220 sandpaper and we sanded the stencils lightly. It got rid of some of the imperfections. And then a few people added DIY white wax to their pieces just to give it a little aged effect. And then on the big outdoor signs, what you didn't see is that I took them outside and used a spray coat of sealer just so they would be protected from the elements.
The signs are all made and they all wanted them framed. So I'm using some 3.5-inch cedar fencing. I'm ripping it down the middle, so 1 3/4 inches. And that's what I'm gonna use to frame these out. Okay, so I've got my sign here. If you guys have watched our other video when we made our fall signs, the process is the same. So I've got just some 5mm, almost 1/4 inch underlayment. It's just cheap backer board is what I use it for, but it's going to be my spacer on this so that it has a little bit of a lip on the back. That way it's easy to hang. Okay, so just lining this up right here. And then one of the sides next. Now we've got a framed sign with a little lip here. That way it's easy to hang on the wall. Pretty quick, easy craft. We're gonna drop a link for the full video on how we put these together so that you can see us do them step by step. Most of this video we wanted to focus on how to actually do a craft night. So I tried to convince them that I never have my makeup or my hair done every time I'm on camera, and they weren't buying it. They wouldn't let me film them.
Mostly we just wanted to hang out and chill. Sometimes you don't always want a camera in your face, but we had a really great time. It's a great thing that you can do and get your girlfriends together, especially if you guys want to split the cost of the stencil sets and the paint. It doesn't take a lot of paint to do what we did today. So if you buy like 1 quart for the color that you want to stencil with, you buy the Real Stain, 1/4 of that. You get together and buy the wood. You could even have them cut the wood for you at your hardware store. Not necessarily the framing, but if you just want to do that, you can go really simple, and then each season just split a set of Essential Stencils and you guys can all create some signs for your home. You can also do this in your shop for a craft to sell paint or just to get people in trying new products. It's always a great idea.
A lot of these signs are double duty. They've got front and back so that they can change them out as Halloween comes around and then goes back to fall and things like that.
And a lot of them are super excited for the Essential Stencils that will be out probably in the next month or so. They're the Christmas ones, so they just did one side and then they're planning on coming back to my house and stenciling the other side with whatever Christmas stencils they come out with. I haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure that they will be out and they will be good. So if you'd like to use the stencils that we used, you can go to essentialstencil.com, use the code Jami Ray Vintage to save 10%. To purchase the Real Stain number 2, the Fairy Chalk Mother in Best Black and Gunmetal, and also the DIY in White Swan, the DIY White Wax, and the Paint Pixie Little C stencil brush, you can pick up all of those things at jamirayvintage.com. So Zeb, what was your favorite part about craft night?
Hanging out with Jack watching TV.
Was it not eating all the yummy food that everybody brought?
They did bring a little bit of yummy food, but it was still hanging out with Jack.
He came in periodically because he has a good eye, and I'm like, Zeb, we need your help on these longer stencils just to like get everything straight, and he's a really good sport, and he framed all these out for us, so my friends say thank you. Be sure to hit that notifications button so you don't miss any videos coming up. Share this video with your friends before you guys have your next craft night. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.